evening. We're all invited to take another terrifying journey into the world of mystery, suspense, and terror. Let's turn off all the lights, lock the doors and windows, sit back and enjoy this evening's chilling tale.
All right, well, thank you folks out there in internet land for tuning that dial to the Eek channel. My name is James, and today I am joined by my co-host.
Hi, I'm Alex.
Hey guys, this is Alex.
It's me. Hi, I've been dead for years. Now I'm back.
This is Eek Speak, the show that serves as a weekly horror house party where everyone wants to talk about scary movies. Today we are going to call up our friend Phil in just a minute. But you know, before we get in too far, just you know, how are you doing tonight, Alex?
I'm good. I've got my spooky juice that I'm drinking.
Spooky juice is good.
Yeah, things have been good. A little rainy around these parts, but
Yeah, that's true.
other than that, yeah, life's good.
That's true. It was a rainy day. So I to make money, because I don't make money doing the Eek channel. That's for sure.
Not yet.
Not yet. So to make money, what I do is I am a real estate photographer. I had 2 photo shoots scheduled for today, one of which was only drone work, which, spoiler alert, folks, you can't fly a drone in the rain, or at least you shouldn't. not one that's built for
I bet Will Smith could do it,
videography.
you know?
And so that job got canceled, and then the other one was it's a weird yet sad story.
Oh.
It's a bar. It's The Ruin on Main Street.
Okay, yeah.
I guess maybe they're flirting with the idea of selling the building, and so like it was cool because I got to see the inside of the cool bar and like take pictures of it, which is fun. But then on the flip note, it's like the person that was there didn't want to give away any details of what's happening with the establishment, which I understand. She was not very forthcoming with information because I was like, oh, this place is so cool, like. It's a bummer if you have to sell it. And it's like, oh, well, I don't have to sell it. Like, well, that's good.
Okay.
But you're obviously in the market too.
Weird flex, but all right.
So it still seems sad. I don't know. Maybe they're potentially selling to move into a bigger location.
Yeah.
If so, fucking awesome. Like, that's great. But I don't know. It was a weird
I
situation.
don't think I've ever actually been to the Ruin when it was open,
Yeah, me either.
but I guess that's why they're not open. I'm just kidding. If you want to sponsor us, Ruin, we'll drink and record.
Yeah, absolutely. We already do. So if you want to help out with that, that'd be great. Okay. Well, before we insult any more local businesses, maybe we should just try to get Phil on the line here. Let's see if my phone works today. There it is.
There it
Shit,
goes.
I dropped it.
Hello.
Hey, Phil, how you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Doing real good. This is James, and then I also have Alex with me today. Alex, say hello.
Hello, Phil.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hi.
All right, Phil. Well, as you know, this is the Eek Speak podcast where we talk about horror movies. So first of all, man, just how you doing tonight? How are things going?
Good. I mean, you can't ask for a better Monday, I guess. I mean, it's with the weather kind of feeling like fall, getting into that spooky spirit.
I know, man. It's feeling like Halloween season already, and I'm okay with it.
I'm ready for my
yeah,
flannel
I've been
and my scarf.
He's ready for his pumpkin spice lattes.
You know it.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty much a basic wardrobe when it comes to that.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, one of the first things that we like to ask people is just kind of what is your horror origin story? So, maybe the first scary movie you've seen, or maybe just a memory of something that you saw really early, something like that.
Yeah. I remember, growing up on, R.L. Stine's Goosebumps.
Yes.
Reading those books, watching those when I was a kid. And then I remember being, I think that I would say maybe the first negative experience was, I think I was 2. And my brothers and family were watching the Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Oh,
And I snuck around the corner and I watched some of it. and I was terrified of anything clown for like 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, circus clown, anything. And but then I kind of got into the R.S. books, and it kind of just and escalated from there. And I mean, I've been watching horror ever since, really.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. Actually, so you, I know you used to. I'm assuming that you still do. Do you still kind of put together the haunted trail thing? Are you still doing that?
No, not since we moved.
Okay.
It was yeah. So it's been about two or 3 years. I think about 3 years since we moved. So haven't really had a chance to get back over there and do it. But it was something that we did. I mean, for a good 5 years running, and it was a blast to do, and a lot of prep work and stuff. But it was something I really enjoyed doing.
Yeah, it's super cool because like I feel like, I mean, we get to talk to a lot of different kinds of people on the show. Obviously, everyone that is on likes scary movies, but I feel like liking horror movies and then going through the work of doing like your own haunt is a whole different level.
Oh yeah. I mean, I know we started really construction, and usually I think in May, June, July we were really late, and so it took about 4 or 5 months of work, and then I mean, obviously the money you put into it,
Yeah.
and we only did it one night. We would do it either we would either do it only Halloween night, or we would have a big party around Halloween, and and it was just family and friends. We'd get I think usually I had a crew of about between 8 and 12 guys, guys and girls, and we'd go all out. I had people. I had one girl 1 year freak out, and we were at the time we got roped off the trail,
Mm-hmm.
and she started bolting. And she clotheslined herself on one of the on one of the ropes. And so that was the last year that we were like, we probably shouldn't do that anymore.
Oh, dude, that's intense. All right, well, let's move forward a little bit. We got a little bit of the history of kind of how things started. What would you say at this point you would consider like a comfort food horror movie? So I actually had this experience a couple weeks ago. I was feeling real sick and also just real bummed out by like a lot of bad not new movies, but movies that I hadn't seen watching for the first time. I had watched a lot of bad ones in a row, and like I was like, you know what? I just need like my mashed potatoes and gravy horror movie. So like, what would that be for you?
I mean, I have to go with the original Halloween for me. It's kind of I watch it probably a few times a year, and I think the artistry of it is awesome, and so kind of what he did, and I mean, I like Zombie's version. I don't think it was terrible, but the original one for me is definitely my go-to for anything like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Did you watch the 2018 remake / sequel?
I did, and I guess they're coming out with 2 more to kind of top it off. It was okay. I mean, it was your typical sequel. I think that has been recreated over and over and over again. The storyline kind of trying to throw away out the old storyline and make this the true sequel. It was good, but I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm an old soul when it comes to some of these horror movies.
Yeah, no, I agree. I actually we had a discussion about the requel is what I call it, but we had a discussion about it, and I felt like it's fine, and at that point I was like, you know what, just let this kind of be the capstone. We can end it here. Just stop making Halloween movies.
Yeah.
And then obviously, about a year later, we get the announcement that we're not getting 1 sequel, but 2 sequels. And but I had the weirdest reaction because like I had said after the 2018 movie, okay, just stop. But then I heard about 2 new ones, and I'm like, oh, I'm so excited, more Michael Myers.
No, I get that. I definitely get that, because I mean, I even did the same thing. When they killed him off or whatever in the first one, And it's like, okay, well, obviously, you know, they're not showing him dead, and even if they did, he's coming back. He's the boogeyman, and it's almost like, you know, they're just going to go forever because
Right.
eventually, you know, 15, 20 years down the line, they're going to get bored and have absolutely no creative ideas, and, you know, let's bring back Michael.
Yep.
You
Yep.
know,
Just do it
something like
again.
that.
Yep.
I'm excited for the Michael Myers John Wick crossover. I really think that's gonna be great.
Honestly, I
I
feel
don't know,
like.
man. I feel like
Go ahead.
I don't know if I feel bad for anybody who goes up against John Wick.
Yeah.
Yeah, for real. I was gonna say though, like, I mean, that could be a great. They always say when they do remakes and stuff that it's always to appeal to a new generation of film watcher.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. You throw John Wick in there, I think you're gonna get a lot of the next generation watching the next Halloween movie.
That's definite. I think that's shit. I think it's a good way to kind of keep new generations in the genre though too. I mean,
It's true.
you have these iconic characters that you just kind of keep bringing back and back. I mean, I get excited for every, you know, Dracula, Mummy,
Yeah.
you know, Frankenstein, any of those movies. Granted, most of them that come out anymore are absolutely terrible. But
Yeah.
every time I see a new one coming out, I'm like, dude, this is going to be awesome.
Right.
And because it's you know, kind of re-showing that character to the generation coming up.
Right. Absolutely.
So you're hyped for the new Blade movie?
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll take that one as it goes.
Yeah. That's the best way to look at it. All right, so we'd like to play a little game around here. So this is a 2-part question. The first part is if you could eliminate one film or franchise from the horror canon, what would it be? And then the flip side of that coin is if you could see something kind of resurrected or maybe just continue on, maybe it's a sequel, maybe it is a remake, something like that, what would that be?
Oh man! All right, so I've been thinking about this question for days now. I think so. I might get a lot of flack for this, but honestly, I'm not a huge fan of the Saw movies.
Okay.
Just kind of the torture horror. I thought the first one was great. I mean, what they did pretty much in like 2 rooms that kept you entertained. It was just, I think the sequels from there, I'm just like, okay, it's redundant. It's just the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought the first one was good, but I would have to say out of everything, I would say probably the Saw series.
Yeah, honestly, as far as what you say about the first one being really good and the rest just being kind of meh and not really your cup of tea, I am 100% on board. That wasn't really a genre that I loved. I remember watching maybe the second and third one in theaters and then just being like, seriously, guys? And then I didn't go again until the one that wasn't the last one, but they said it was the last one. I think that was 6. And then they came out with Jigsaw later. So like,
Jigsaw,
yeah, I went and saw 6 in theaters because they're like, oh, it's the last one. I'm like, well, I'll watch it just to freaking kill this franchise.
I honestly couldn't even tell you the plot about Jigsaw. I know there's a bike, and that's about it.
We watched.
I know.
We watched that movie together. I don't know what happened. Well, I think I remember like there was they went like someone had remade a lot of his stuff, and it was like an original prototype for a torture machine.
The story's just so crazy.
I know.
It's like, oh, it's him, but then it's not him, but then it's his cousin, but then it's his, like, oh, protege, but then it's really actually the detective or something. I don't know,
that's
man.
right. It was like a cop in that towards the end or something. I don't remember.
No.
Yeah, it gets weird. All right, Phil. So what would you resurrect? What do you think maybe doesn't get as much love? Something that needs to stick around.
Oh man. It's so hard because everything's been resurrected anymore.
I know.
I mean, I'd almost have to go back to the Universal monsters.
Mm-hmm.
I know that they came out with Dark Universal, but whenever you throw Tom Cruise in the mix, you know, things are probably going to go weird.
Yep.
And so that completely flopped. So
I was so excited for that idea, and it just.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, I was geeking out over that.
Mm-hmm.
And so but yeah, and so I mean, I would say that I think we need a good dark, like not action, because the Mummy, it was Tom Cruise. It was Mission Impossible with a ghost.
Yep.
and like don't do it action, do it a dark gothic horror. Like I love Penny Dreadful, kind of that gothic
for sure.
feeling. Do something like that. And I guess Penny Dreadful actually, I guess, would have reinvented that because they have all those monsters.
That's true.
They're
the closest people who like actually are doing that right.
Yeah, and they only got 3 seasons.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I mean that would be me. I love those the Universals.
That's good. All right, here's a question for you. What was the last horror movie that you've watched?
The last horror, The Ruin.
The Ruin.
The Ruin. That was called. It's on Netflix. Oh, great. Oh no, Bird Box. That was the last one I watched.
Oh,
I don't really consider that horror though.
I would.
But no, the
that
one where it's they're in the woods. The guys are camping in the woods.
The Ritual.
And, the look. That's right. The Ritual.
Yeah.
That one. I thought that was pretty good. Especially, I'm going on a camping trip with some buddies in October. So of course, watching a bunch of dudes get killed in the woods is exactly what I need to watch right now.
Oh yeah, yeah. I really like The Ritual. What did you think of Bird Box?
I think it kind of it misidentified the genre. Everybody was saying it's horror. I wouldn't necessarily say that. It was more suspense than anything.
Yep.
I thought it was The Quiet Place, but with a different sense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess next they're going to come out with like the Death Box, where if you hear something, you're going to die. I don't know. It's so. I mean, it was an interesting concept, but to me, it was along the lines of what was that one? The Happening.
Yep.
With Mark Wahlberg.
Absolutely.
And that, I mean, it was so. I wasn't a huge fan. I don't really understand the huge attention it got.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was probably the last one. I'm always a bit behind when it comes into fall for horror movies because October we just marathon everything.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
so I usually push a lot of the newer ones that have just come out till then. Yeah. And so usually around August, September, I haven't watched much recently.
Yeah. Well, on that note, is there anything that's kind of that you have right there on the back burner that you're kind of stoked about for going in October? Anything that you're really looking forward to that you haven't seen yet?
I mean, I haven't seen the Pet Sematary yet. I love the book. The original movie was okay. It wasn't the book. I've heard mixed reviews about the new Pet Sematary. But when you follow kind of the groups that I do with a lot of the, extreme Halloween groups and horror fanatic groups, every movie is loved and every movie is absolutely loathed. And so you gotta kind of just gotta pick and watch it, either way. So I think I'm pretty excited for that. Hopefully they did it, semi well. But the one I'm most excited for would be the sequel.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice. All right. Well, I asked you for a couple of your favorites, and you gave me a few, and so I actually have some trick or treat trivia for you today. Are you up for that?
All right, I'll do my best.
All right. They're multiple choice, so it's not too hard. All right. So our first question: Michael Dougherty, who is the director of Trick or Treat, he based it off of an animated short film that he actually made in 1996. What was the short film's title? Is it A, All Hallows Eve, B, Season's Greetings, or C, Halloween Stories?
I want to say B, but I don't think that's right. I just watched the documentary on him.
Oh, yeah. Well, you remembered right. It's B. Woo!
Yeah, nice.
You nailed it. Yeah, and so he originally was just going to kind of remake that into a film, and then the studio was like, you can't call a Halloween movie Season's Greetings. It sounds like a Christmas movie. And he's like, but I really want to. And they said, no, you can't. And you changed the title. All right, so moving on. All of the werewolves in Trick or Treat, for those of you who haven't seen Trick or Treat, there's a werewolf short. All the werewolves were created by a studio called, oh gosh, I knew I was going to butcher this name. I should have looked up how to pronounce it. It's Tetopolis Studios. What other werewolf movie are they known for working on? Is it A, the Underworld series, B, The Howling, or C, An American Werewolf in London?
I would have to say Underworld, just because they look so similar.
Yep.
Boom.
You got it. Nailed it. 2 for 2.
Woo.
Yep. Underworld. Yeah, I was shocked by it when I read it, but then when I thought about it, I was like, well, yeah, they do have a very similar look to the werewolves in Underworld. So
Yeah.
kind of totally makes sense. All right. There was an on-set joke that no pumpkins were harmed during the making of Trick or Treat. And for anyone listening who hasn't seen Trick or Treat, there are a crap ton of
Oh, yeah.
jack-o'-lanterns. There are so many jack-o'-lanterns, so many pumpkins, kids smashing pumpkins, just jack-o'-lanterns carved up everywhere. So, what were the many jack-o'-lanterns made of? Was it A, paper mache, B, foam and ceramic, or C, plastic and rubber?
A.
A, paper mache is a great guess. The answer was B, foam and ceramic, which actually I feel like would have taken a lot of time. All right, Phil. Well, that kind of brings us to the end of our time together. Is there anything else that you would like to let the people know about? I know that you are a musician. I don't know if you're working on anything currently right now. Just anything that you'd like to tell people about or promote. We always give people an opportunity to kind of plug anything that maybe they're working on or maybe something that they think deserves some attention. So this time is yours, my friend.
I mean, I was.
Did we lose it? Oh, there you are. I think we lost you for a second.
Oh, okay. Am I there? Am I here?
Yep, you're good now.
All right, bro. So yeah, no, I mean, you can just follow me on. I think it's Big Fifth on Instagram.
Big Fifth. Yep.
I try to post some stuff on there. I have a few different Instagram pages, but that's kind of my main one. But no, that's about it.
Perfect. No, not a problem at all. That's great. All right, man. Well, yeah, we'll have people follow you at Big Fifth on Instagram. And that is Phil with an F, right? I'm remembering that correctly, right?
Yes.
It's Phil,
Fifth
but
with
an F
yeah,
at the
Phil,
end.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Big
That's
Fifth.
right.
Got it.
Oh. Took me a second.
He's piecing it together. He's like, there's a lot of F sounds in there. All right, Phil, man. Well, thanks so much for being on the show with us today. I really appreciate it. And, man, we'll have to get you over maybe here in person and watch a movie with us sometime, all right?
Yeah, definitely, man. It was a blast.
Yeah, cool, man. You take it easy. Have a good night.
All right, bro. Bye.
Bye. All right, so Danny's not here to say, he's nice.
He's a lovely person.
Phil is really nice. He's actually one of the few guests that we've had on the show that I've actually known in person before doing the show. Okay, so we're going to move into our horror news. I still don't have a sound effect for horror news.
Is that good? Did I do it? All right, no. It's beep, 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 beep,
Yeah, that's
beep,
what I was
beep,
thinking.
beep,
Like,
beep,
yeah,
beep. Breaking news.
but something scary added in. Like,
Boo! I'm good at this, guys. I promise.
He's so good. He's so good. Okay, so we have a couple things. Most of them are pretty small news stories today. Nothing huge. But first off is if you were, I don't know how much you actually listen to the show, Alex.
I watch it live.
Okay, perfect. So do you remember we were talking about James Wan was working with New Line on a secret title? And I was really hoping that they said, oh, he's working on an original screenplay, but it's super secret and we can't say anything. And so I was really hoping that it wasn't actually an original screenplay and it was going to be a Nightmare on Elm Street reboot.
Or the Cube 4.
I don't think that's a New Line property, but okay.
I wish. Might actually get done.
So it is not a Nightmare on Elm Street reboot. I think what happened is they leaked that information, and then the rumor mill was like, oh my god, maybe it's not really an original movie and it's Nightmare on Elm Street, and like the hype train was already starting. So then like to get out in front of that, they're like, oh no, it's not Nightmare on Elm Street. It really is an original movie. And it's called Silver Cup. The working title is Silver Cup, all one word, Silver Cup. They casted George Young in the lead role, which I looked at other things that George Young has been in, and I have no idea who this guy is. He is a Chinese British actor.
Okay.
Yep. Which I feel like you don't hear about very often.
Quite.
But apparently he did a show. Ironically, my son is from Taiwan, and he did a Taiwanese travel show called Fun Taiwan for many years. And now he's gonna be in this horror movie. I think he had a couple parts in some like drama shows, but nothing that I've ever really seen or knew what they were talking about.
Going
So
from 0 to 100 real quick. This will go one way or the other.
yeah, typical horror movie stuff though, right?
True.
Okay, so big news. Big news. It's not a scoop by any means, but if we had anything close to a scoop, this would be it. Deep Blue Sea 3
I saw that.
is officially in the works.
So excited.
Produced by Netflix, will be going straight to Netflix, but still, Deep Blue Sea 3, it's happening. Deepest, bluest, deeperest, bluester, deep cubed, blue cubed. My hat is like shark's fin. I don't know. How do you get deeper and bluer?
You gotta go deeper. the trench, you gotta pierce through the heat veil over the wait. That's a different movie.
Going down in the Marianas Trench, you're gonna find prehistoric science sharks.
I think that's the Meg. We're talking about the Meg.
We are talking about the Meg. Okay, so yeah, Deep Blue Sea 3 is happening. It's gonna be bad. I'm telling you right now, it's gonna be bad. The first one was bad. The second one was worse. And the third one's gonna be even worse.
I hope Chance the Rapper's in it.
Okay, then it might be good.
Or childish.
Yeah, I'd be fine with both of those. You know who I want in it? I want Samuel L. Jackson in it.
Yeah.
Will he come back? Will he come back?
just like missing like an arm and a leg.
Can he pause from being Nick Fury for a little bit and just come?
I mean, yeah, Spider-Man's gone, so
Oh,
the whole storyline died.
that's another can of worms. Okay, moving on. Candyman reboot or remake, or I don't know what it is. I don't know what they're called anymore because most of them don't frame themselves as remakes anymore. They're like requels, and I know you
Yeah.
hate that saying, but that's what they are. Or they're just really, really late sequels. So, new Candyman movie. We've talked about it before on the show. I'm stoked about it. It began filming in Chicago 2 weeks ago. That's great news.
Yeah.
Great news. It's being filmed, and it's in Chicago, which is where they filmed the original one. They have been releasing over these 2 weeks, like, multiple casting announcements. So, like, I read this on Dread Central, and even the guy at Dread Central was like, are they just, like, hiring people while they're filming? Just kind of as they're going along?
They just get to the next scene, they're like, oh, who's Tracy? Tracy? Are you on set? No? Quick, go hire someone.
Somebody go get a Tracy. And so, like, it's... I don't know. Maybe that's just the way the press is handling it because they don't want to release everything right away.
Yeah.
Why not? Who cares? But maybe they're trying to be super secretive about the actors cast in the movie. So what they've done, the most recent release, is they hired a bunch of, and you know what? As I say this out loud, I typed all of my notes and I've read the story. As I say this out loud, I might have an answer for all of this. So what they've been doing is they released that they've hired on a bunch of local theater actors for the most part, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Usually those people aren't getting into movies, but I am now just having the realization.
Candyman the musical. I know. It's great. It's great. I'm the Candyman.
Stop it.
I'm gonna take you back to my bug lair. It's gonna be great.
No, but that's gonna be the video clip for Instagram. So congratulations, you made it.
Yes.
Well, you remember in Candyman, like his origin story is he's from like the freaking
Like 14, whatever, 7.
I don't think it's 14. I don't think it's quite that old. But
When was America made? See, 1492 Ocean Hill, Ocean Blue. Fast forward like 200 years, and then boom, here
Chicago in the 1400s would have just been Indian onion fields. Sorry, Native American onion fields. And if you don't know, the word Chicago is from a Native American word that means the land of onions. Congratulations. Here's your history lesson.
That makes so much sense.
All right, so, well, yeah, but you know, he's from a time from before,
Yes.
let's say, so maybe a bunch of these theater actors were hired to do some of those like flashback scenes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like as soon as I started saying this out loud, I was like, oh, that would make a ton of sense.
They just grabbed the cast from Seven Brides and Seven Brothers and was just like, hey,
Yep.
add a touch of real sketchy racism, and then boom.
Yeah, something like that. Or super weird, almost overt yet oddly hard to comprehend racism, because this is Jordan Peele, right?
True.
So you know, we gotta do that. We gotta blow a bunch of white people's minds with this movie, because that's what he always does, right?
Can't wait.
I mean, I'm in that group. Like that's just what happens. Anyway, so moving on. But yeah, so I thought that was pretty cool. I love the idea of using local talent. I love them being able to get a shot. I'm guessing they're probably using them to do these flashback scenes. I don't know for sure. They also hired 2 notable Chicagoland filmmakers, which I mean is probably pretty obvious. They're probably just shooting like some news scenes, you know, of like breaking footage or something of like
I hope they actually air it too.
like War of the Worlds, but with
Yeah.
Candyman.
Yes.
On the south side of Chicago.
They'd believe it.
Well, that's the thing. That's something that's really interesting about Candyman is years gone by. So it's based off of it's really based off of a story by Clive Barker.
Mm-hmm.
Is where the movie draws from. And so actually a lot of people have like come against the film, saying that like, oh, you took this like urban legend from, you know, this culture and like turned it into this horror film to profit off of, and like that's really gross and disgusting. And Clive Barker's like, no, I didn't. Like, I just chose. And actually, Clive Barker's version, I think, is set in London, and the makers of the American film Candyman just chose to set it in Chicago.
Yeah.
Because Chicago's really cheap to film in, especially in the early 90s.
It only
when
costs like 2 onions.
nobody even wanted to be there because they're going to get shot. Which we covered in our 90s episode where we watched Candyman.
Yep.
They actually had to make deals with local gang members to like, hey, if you guys can like protect our stuff, we'll let you be extras in the movie. Like they didn't even go to the cops. They just went straight to the source.
Shout out to Rat Tail Carl. You know what I'm saying?
So anyway, like, but yeah, anyway, they hired a bunch of people and some local news anchors. So that happened. The Jacob's Ladder remake. Have you seen Jacob's Ladder?
I don't think I have.
Okay.
Actually.
I watched it not that long ago for the first time, maybe a couple years ago, and they did a remake of it,
Okay.
which I remember reading about and talking about. It's coming out this year. Remake of Jacob's Ladder. Interesting. Well, it's out now.
Oh, neat. Didn't even hear about it.
I didn't know. I didn't know it came out, but it did. It's
Straight to DVD?
No, they don't make DVDs anymore.
Unless you do.
No, it had like a limited release, and then now it's available on a lot of VOD platforms and some select theaters. Not very many theaters, but it is available. It's the same screenwriter as Midnight Meat Train.
I'm in. 100% in.
And it's currently at a 6% on Rotten Tomatoes. So if anybody wants to check that out, feel free. It's not high on our priority list at this point. I have a couple other
I'll watch it tomorrow.
2019 films that I want to review before we get to a 6% Jacob's Ladder remake.
Ooh, baby.
Woo! Okay, well, that about wraps it up for this episode. Do not forget that Eek Speak is our online horror talk show, and you, my friends, are invited to the party. We record live on YouTube Monday nights at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. We would love for you to join us and be a part of the audience, but even more importantly, a party just is not a party without
Streamers.
and guests.
That too.
So we would love for you guys to come on and be a guest, just like Phil was a guest today. If you are interested in being a guest on the show, you can hit us up on Instagram at Eek Channel. That is EEKCHANNEL. Or you can email us at hello@eekchannel.com. You can also check out the website, and you can click on a little Be a Guest link in the upper right-hand corner. You'll fill out a little form, and then it'll be there. Dude, it's so hard to not sing that every single time I talk about this. If you want to help out the show, you can rate, review, comment, like, all those things wherever you listen.
Smash that subscribe button, bros.
Do you do those things? Enable the notifications. I said enable notifications without fumbling over my words. Granted, I'm only one beer in. If I try to say enable notifications on the next part of the episode, the spoiler vision part, I'm probably going to screw it up.
Do you want my creepy juice?
I thought, oh yeah, we're still trying to figure out what to call this without it sounding offensive, but I don't think creepy juice helped.
Nope.
All right. So yeah, if you don't want to do any of the internet things, I'm fine with that too. Just tell a friend. That's really the most important thing. Just tell some people that maybe you think the show's kind of cool, or at least it's worth looking at once.
I told my grandma.
Great.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. In other news, YouTube has this really weird rule where you're not really considered like a real channel until you have 100 subscribers. We jumped from like 20-ish subscribers to 63 in like 4 days because I figured this out and I'm like, oh crap, maybe we should push for people to subscribe so that we can like be a real channel, get a custom URL, and then it's actually going to be easier to find and share the show. So if you could just do a little subscribe on YouTube. If you have a Gmail account, you secretly automatically have a YouTube account. So just go ahead and sign in. Like you probably didn't even know that was a thing, but you have a YouTube account if you have a Gmail account. And if you want to do that on multiple Gmail accounts, I'm fine with that too. If we could just get that number up to 100, then we get our custom URL. Then it makes life much easier.
Get your parents' phone, hit subscribe.
Stop.
They'll never know. It will be fine.
Okay, I thought you were going to say something about the wacky 3 numbers in the back. We don't need to go quite that far. Okay, that does it for us. Thank you guys so much for listening.
This has been a production of Eek Channel. We make spooky stuff for people like you. You can discover more content like this at eekchannel.com or find us on Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, all the places. And don't be shy, we like making new friends. Thank you for tuning in and stay eeky out there.